Well, that cut out. Anywho, we are live, joined tonight with Mike from Faraday Research. How are you doing, brother?
Good, good. Long time no see.
Indeed. It's been about a month. Maybe even now. Have we done one since my third channel now, or was the last one?
No. I think we haven't done a show since the last of going into June, actually. We haven't done a show. Yeah, I think it was like the beginning of June, yeah. So it's been
glad to have you back.
Thanks.
Do you want to tell us what you're working on, or should I play a quick clip first? Or
yeah, whatever you want. You're the leader.
Well, yeah, I guess give us a quick update, then we'll play it.
Okay, so like I haven't really been online all that much in the last bit, because I started a new job and everything, so I was trying to get stuff stable at home again, get some income going, and just trying to get things on the roll again. So I've been working on day shifts, so I've been spending a lot of time in the evenings now working on projects and just working on a lot of stuff. And I haven't really been posting many videos. I kind of stepped back away from YouTube for a bit. I wanted to get my focus back on my projects and try to implement some of the ideas that I've been having go through my head for the last little while. So yeah, that's the reason why I kind of stepped away from YouTube a bit. I was still, my Patreon's still going.
2 or 3 videos in the last month, I think. One on the Adams motor,
yeah.
Don Smith one from the other day.
Yeah, I just kind of stepped back away a bit. I just had to get my head focused on the projects again because, the Adams motor project I really wanted to get going. So I kind of buckled down, got the stuff I needed, and started doing the build. And that's turning out to be a really, really cool project. I'm getting some pretty impressive numbers. It's still, there's the second part of the generator that I'm working on now. The actual Adams motor itself is built. Now I'm building an AC generator on top of that. So the Adams motor creates the mechanical motion, and then the mechanical motion is now running the AC motor on top. So I'm building special coils that are basically lens-free coils that it's able to use the law of induction, but still reduce the lens law effect. So the motor doesn't have any drag. There's no braking effect. So some of the concepts and
annihilating friction, or like the magnetic friction?
No, the magnetic braking. So when you got an AC generator and you put a load on
AC, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Or any motor that you're using as a generator, the second you either short out the 2 wires of the coil, or you put a load on it, say, charging a battery or capacitor bank or lighting a light bulb, that creates a load. And when that happens, the braking effect happens on the motor. So it takes more energy to turn that motor than it would if it was an open circuit. So the idea is to come up with a coil where this braking effect doesn't happen. And if you can do this and actually still create power, therefore your efficiency of your system goes way up because there's no braking effect. There's no drag on the motor when you put a load on it. So I've got 2 different designs that I'm working on. The one I'm working on now is the one that I've actually been testing with the actual, Adams motor, and it's working out good. And I'm getting some actually higher values than I thought I would. So right. I still have to buy. I got 2 cores. I got to build at least another 2, maybe 4 cores. So the more cores I have on it, the more power I'm going to generate in AC current. Now, after that, I could do whatever I want with it. I can put it through a full-wave bridge rectifier, make it into DC, charge batteries with it. It just opens my doors to so many different directions I can go with it. So that's the main project. Now, the other project I've been working on.
Nice. I'll pause you for 1 sec. Maybe we should play a little bit of the Adams motor video first. so
Sure.
the viewers can see what you're talking about, and then we'll show the second, or get into the second project after that.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
So here is Mike's most recent video on his channel, Faraday Research, the Adams motor generator build. And it involves a flywheel as well as, do you want to describe a little bit more?
There's many things happening in this motor. I'll get into it a little bit more after the video. But we're really going to get into the piezoelectric effect and Faraday's law of induction, and how I'm using the piezo to actually tune the coil into harmonic resonance to get the extra power out of it. So we'll get into that after the video.
And welcome back to Faraday Research. It is now Sunday. I decided to hold off yesterday after I did my road trip because I wanted to do some work and show you guys more or less what I've been up to. Yesterday I got a little busy with family stuff, so you know how it goes. So I had to put it off till today. But anyways, yeah, I went on my road trip. I got some components and parts. And one of them was I got a power box for the build of my Adams motor build. So I want to show you all the stuff that I've done up to this point. Now I'm getting to the point now where I can start doing experimenting with my lens-free coils that I have here. I'm going to show you what I did with the power box and the wiring and all that kind of stuff. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. Also at the end of the video, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, or any time during the video. Also, too, I'm starting to make a presence on Rumble. Okay, this is a new multimedia. Well, they've been around for a while, but I'm going to start pushing my stuff over there because there's less censorship and a little bit more freedom as far as what I can do and what I can show and what I can't show. I've had 2 friends now, actually 3, that have actually gotten the boot on YouTube. So I want to prevent that from happening to me. So a lot of my videos now are going to start moving over to Rumble. So please check out Rumble's site there and subscribe to Faraday Research R&D and support me on that channel as well. So let's go over just some of the stuff I've done. First off, I bought the power box. So all my components for the Adams motor are in here. I got the terminal block. I got my switches. I got a light to show that I'm using a power supply right now, just one of these wall plug things to actually power the reed switch and the fan. And that's pretty much it. That's all that this does. The 2 wires at the back, I've put connectors on it now. These go to your power source, your battery, or whatever you want to use. So I did that. I got also a kill switch here. If I want to shut the main power off for the Adams motor, I can do so right here very easily. And I also installed inside a full weight bridge rectifier, which I'm going to be using for this setup here. If I want to charge capacitors, all the power that comes off here is AC, and I'll have to put it through the full weight bridge in order to charge batteries or capacitors or whatever I want to do, or try feeding it back into the system, which that's going to be part, excuse me, part of the experimentation, what I'm going to be doing with this motor. So right now, thus far, I'm at the point now where I can start doing some science here and actually putting this motor together to actually generate excessive amount of power. So it's a traditional Adams motor design, okay, but with a few twists. Now, he used a rotary commutator, which he says is essential for charging batteries. Okay, I've gone to the modern version of that, and I'm using an automotive relay switch, which is in here behind the fan. I got the fan there. I technically don't even need the fan, but I put it there anyways just to keep some airflow going in there. And also the radiant energy has to have some flow going through the circuit. So I have a hole here on the side that I actually dremeled out. And so that allows me to have some air circulation throughout the power box. As far as the wiring, I'm going to take the top off here so you can actually see. So basically, it's an Adams motor and an AC generator built into one. The Adams motor is actually creating the mechanical power that runs the AC motor. So now it's a two-stage motor system, which I haven't really seen anybody else out there do it except for one guy. And he's been out there longer than me, probably 40 plus years he's been doing this stuff. He's the only other guy that I know of that's actually done like a two-stage system. I'll take the top off here and you can see what I've done. So I've got the Adams motor wheel there, 6 magnets. Now I'm using lawnmower wheels. Now the last video you've seen, this wheel here was actually quite a bit larger. It was an 8-inch diameter, but I found it was drawing too much of a load on it. So I wanted to get the efficiency of the Adams motor up. Now, first off, instead of using a traditional reed switch, I'm using a 3D printer proximity sensor. They're way faster, way more responsive, and they're a lot more reliable. They won't burn out. Now, the way I have my circuit set up, it's completely isolated from the rest of the system, which is running off this power supply here that just provides 12 volts, nothing more. So I have to keep that isolated from the rest of the circuit. So opening and closing of the switch that I have in there, the auto relay switch, it's also running off of this. So this power block is running the switch and the proximity sensor. It's isolated from the rest of the system. If I don't do it, I'll blow the crap out of it. Guaranteed. And I've blown up many, 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 many reed switches. So underneath here, this is one of the keys to my Adams motor getting the output that it is getting. Nobody's using them, and it's baffling me because the gains are so high with this. It's almost a no-brainer, pretty much a no-brainer. I got 3 piezoelectric transducers. These put the coil into harmonic resonance, and I know so is because of the huge amount of power gain that I get. If I wasn't getting huge amount of power gain, these things obviously are not doing the job. But when I remove these from the circuit, my power, my high-end power decreases dramatically. So I use 3 piezo transducers. They make it a little bit noisy. They are firing, and they are getting this coil. This has about 600 turns of 24 gauge wire. It gets it into harmonic resonance because the power gain goes like, if I put it on an analog meter, it'll show about 5 volts going out. It doesn't show high voltage spikes, but true voltage, about 5 volts. When I add the piezos, 3 of them, I'm hitting over 30 volts. From 5 to 30 volts, that's a huge power gain. Not only that, my high voltage back EMF also increases. This bulb is hitting about 200 volts, but because it's pulse DC, the bulb doesn't blow up. So this is kind of like the bleed valve of the system. So if I were to detach this, my piezos are like ready to friggin' explode because they have so much back EMF going through it. So what I did was, if you can see it, I got those stereo hookup. So now I've hooked my coil up to it. So if I want to swap coils out and experiment with different coils, I can do so very easily now by just pulling these 2 wires off. Boom, I can detach the coil, as well as the piezos are also separated from the in these connectors here. So I could take them out. I could change stuff. Now I can do the science. I can actually work with this now. So, and now I'm going to be running the system with my lithium iron phosphate battery, which works fantastic. And yeah, so now I'm at the point where I got good wiring, I got good hookups so I can swap stuff out. I'm at the point now where I can really start doing the science. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, bottom right-hand corner, also I have my email below. You can also email me, make questions, comments below in the description. Also, don't forget, become a Patreon. You can, like I said, and the proximity sensor. So let's get it going.
Yeah.
Give it a little spin. Actually, technically, I don't even need to do it, but all right. Let's get it going. This thing goes pretty quick now. I have to hook up my speed tack on it. Get everything dialed in here. Make sure I got my... All right. Get her going at a good RPM. All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to put this first coil up, just the one coil. I'm going to bring it in. I've already got power. Bring the second coil in. So you can see that this generator is now lighting up this light array. So I'm going to be experimenting a lot more with this. This is really cool stuff. And there's almost next to no lens effect on this. It's not slowing the motor down. That's the key to this system. If you can defeat lens law, you've won the game. They say lens law can't be beaten. I beg to differ. And look at the light. Look how much light I'm getting off this thing. Huge amount of light. So everything's going good. There's the Adams motor there. And then it's powering my AC generator. So right now, this is very low amperage, right? You know, I got 32 LED lights, and you can see how bright they are, fully lit. Now, I'm putting AC power. I haven't even put it through a full-wave bridge yet. So, you know what I mean? Like, I can adjust the coils. Now, here's the cool thing. Watch this. I'm going to shut it off, and this thing's going to continue to spin, but it's going to also continue to generate power. Watch. Okay, it's off now. The Adams motor is not working. It's still generating power. See? The motor's just winding down on its own. It's still generating power. So we're at 15 minutes. This is a pretty good video, just to show you where I'm at. Now I got something really good to work with, easy to hook up, easy to swap stuff out and try it out. Different.
So I'm gonna pause it there if that's
Sure.
all right. Dude, good spot. Yeah, that was awesome demonstration and great video and work there.
Yeah, so I'm kind of utilizing a flywheel effect there. So I could actually put it on a timer, let it run for like 10 to 20 second intervals, make the Adams motor run, speed it up, and then let the inertia of the wheel run the motor on its own, under its own power for 10 seconds, and then hit it again with more power. You can do it in cycles, put it on a timer circuit, and you know the efficiency goes up again, right?
Yeah, like it's revolutionary stuff, and it's what's been hidden and almost intentionally kept out of modern electrical engineering is all of these multiplying efficiencies within the different devices and the combinations of them together, especially how you're doing that double motor.
Right. So I kind of took that idea, that concept from those flywheel buses that were in Sweden back in the 40s and 50s. They were testing those. Remember, we were doing that a while ago. We were talking about that, those flywheel buses.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, I basically did the same thing with this motor. So
it's key. It's a mechanical battery, is what these flywheels are.
That's exactly it. Yep. Everything is in a spin.
Right, exactly. It's part of just the universal motion. Everything is in this toroidal spinning motion.
Everything. You name it, it's spinning. universe spins, the nucleus and the cell spins, everything
Galaxy,
spins.
everything, exactly.
Magnetism, dielectric, you know, everything. Everything is in a spinning motion. So, yeah, that's that device. And then my friend Mr. B, we'll call him Mr. B. I don't think he'll like having this name broadcasted, so we'll just call him Mr. B. He outsourced some very interesting hardware that emanated from a 1945 Navy battleship. It was part of the radar system. Actually, I have the box here. I don't know if people can actually see that. It is a vacuum tube spark gap. So he's outsourced this old gentleman out in California, and what they were doing, the supply chain that used to supply all the parts for the Navy battleships, that warehouse was getting shut down. So he just happened to be at the right place at the right time, caught wind of this warehouse getting shut down, and he managed to get about 3 days of hauling stuff out of there. And the spark gaps were one of the things that he hauled out of that warehouse. So we're talking 1945, circa 1945 spark gaps. So I'm going to demo that for you guys tonight so you can see how these things look and how they operate. And yeah.
Right. So, and there's spark gaps within the glass tubes. So they're essentially little plasma tubes, correct?
They're plasma tubes. They're in a vacuum chamber. Let's see if I can get this here. Try to focus in on it. That's it right there. So these are vacuum sealed. I'm not sure if there's noble gas inside. I'm suspecting there is something there because of the type of coronas I'm getting.
They work. Just you wait, Jeremiah.
Oh, yeah, they work.
From 1945, they were built. Hey, these originals.
Yeah. And picked them up for $25. So now some of the vacuum tubes, they might have noble gases in it, some might not. These were apparently from a radar system. So I'll have to kind of dig into the history of these spark gaps, see if I can find anything that tells about, if there is a noble gas.
Yeah, it would be definitely good to know, crucial to find out. There probably is a gas in there and what type it is. Actually, no, who knows? It could be empty, right? Because it's just the arc that goes between them when you turn it on. It's not like the entire area ignites.
I think it's just vacuumed. I think it's just vacuumed. But yeah, they work great. I can kind of show you.
Please do light them up. Oh yeah, working as good as new.
Yeah, you kind of get the idea. Yep, they're very cool, and I got 2 of them right now, and apparently Mr. B has got another 2 on order, so that's coming up from California. So yeah.
Jeremiah is saying that they should only be arcing between the points, not around the plates. But it looked like it was just from one side to the other. I'm not sure.
I think it's just generating a corona.
Yeah, I don't know. They are.
They came in
my age.
Well, you know what? They came in an original box. They came in the original box, and they were sealed when they came. So
right, the metal doesn't look like it's oxidized at all.
No, not at all. These things look brand new. They literally look brand new. Yeah, like I inspected these things when I got them, and they look brand new. There's no nicks on the like the numbering on the glass. It's, you know, they're nicely printed. They're not faded. There's no nicks. There's no damage whatsoever on these things. They came in the original box. They were sealed. They've never been opened. So I don't know. They seem to be.
What's the effects you're getting with them now in the Don Smith generator from before you had them with just the regular spark gap?
It seems to be smoothing out the power, because when you're doing a disruptive discharge, it's kind of like all over the place. This seems to be like smoothing out the actual power going through the system now, because when you're doing like spark gaps like this, they're exposed to everything. They're kind of all over the place. The frequency's going up, down, everywhere, sideways. Where this seems to be more controlled environment, right? It seems to be a lot more controlled. So, and also too, I noticed that it's requiring less current in order to run it. So
nice, that's crucial. So you've actually noticed a measurable reduction in.
Yeah, it's not like pulling a huge load, because like before, depending on how I set those spark gaps, would determine on how much load's going to start pulling off the system, right? Sometimes it go right off the chart and I would have to stop it. I would have to like fine tune it just to get it to a good frequency that it's not pulling the current. So yeah, I've seen other guys with the same spark gaps, and they look pretty much the same way.
Yeah, they do look like they're working, like they're going from the points on the outside ones and doubled into the center points, but at the same place. No, I think they're working pretty good. They look like they're working. They're not broken.
The other thing too is that where the plates are in the middle, so you have copper.
Sorry, Mike, your voice is cutting out there, brother.
Oh, okay, sorry. There is actually the copper goes right through the actual glass. It's an actual separation. So the middle one is your anode, and then the two negatives, your cathodes, are on the side. So there's two cathodes, one anode. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, so I could separate it. I could actually just use one side if I want. I just take off one of the negatives, or whatever I want.
I've seen a similar sort of three-phase design in these glass plasma tubes from like a 50s era. It was either Air Force or Navy in conjunction with Bell Labs, showing that when you had the anode on one end, the cathode on the other, and then you put a screen mesh through the center, and then connected that up to an antenna and then to a ground, that you can pull in all radiant energy and start turning heat and EM waves into actual electricity through it.
As far as I've been told, these were used in the radar system on a Navy battleship.
Right? And it's like there's so many things that aren't properly explained or understood that they incorporated into these old radars and sonars and stuff.
Now, one thing I do notice now, when I'm using this spark gap, these guys here, the spark is now turned to green, where before they were white. So I'm thinking, they've changed their color. They're now going green.
That's quite fascinating. Are you able to give us a little demonstration of that right now? Is it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera, but
yeah, you can see it a little bit for sure. There's definitely tinge to it, the greeny to it.
Justice here, but before they would be like a bright white, and that's not the type of spark I want. I want that green spark. So the second I put that you know, the vacuum tube one in there, it changed. So yeah, I'm still experimenting. I literally got these things last week, so I'm still fiddling around with them. I actually had 2 of them set up in series, and they both worked. Both of them worked at the same time. So I actually had 4 spark gaps in a vacuum environment. So
very nice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read some of the captions here.
Oh yeah, Jeremiah, you should join us, good sir, if you're up for it. I did email you the link. Calchemist, that is awesome, man. Those mercury plasma tubes and an old Soviet one, that's even more intriguing, because the old mercury arc rectifiers are something else. The Paul Cook channel has been going into them a lot, and that they rectified from AC to DC in these plasma tubes with mercury at the bottom. Apparently they didn't run out. They didn't erode.
I'm just gonna scoot out for a quick smoke. I'll be right back. I'm gonna shut the camera off. I don't know. I'm getting a temperature warning on this phone. I don't know why, but so, yeah, I'm gonna shut my camera off. I'll be right back. If you want to show some other videos, you know,
okay, yeah,
ahead,
I'll play another video of here in between, and this.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes, Mike.
Yep.
Oops, stupid commercials. Come on, YouTube. YouTube. What can you do? Can't get too angry. All right. So, okay, let's see what I'm doing here. First off, there is some jars of the monoatomics. I'm going to show a little bit later some crazy gold crystal formations forming on the gold bar on one of these reactions. Oh, Jeremiah, you should. It's okay. You don't have to show your face. Just hide behind the logo, and you're always great knowledge to add in or contribute. Okay, sorry. Back to what we are playing in the meantime. This is from the Hidden Technology YouTube channel, and it's how to build your own solar panel out of old DVDs. And I find it fascinating, and I'm going to attempt it myself at some point. Oops, come on. Is it sharing? Oh, there we go. Come on. So it's using old DVDs, and supposedly it creates a 12 volt or 24. I'm not sure. It'll say in this video. But solar panel out of recycled materials. So let's play some background music because the it is in Spanish, so just the subtitles there. Is the music going? So he's stating that you need these blue purpley CDs, not those white silvery ones, but the blue purple ones, because they contain the silicone, and it's the silicone based CD/DVDs that are required to be able to transform into these solar units. I know I need to figure out Brave browser. I had it finally set up with my Crypto Alchemist channel starting to work, and then YouTube deleted me, and that is Google, which then transferring all the accounts screwed it up all over again, and I've got it transferred over to this third account now, so we don't have to deal with all of it because it's ridiculous. Yes, the link, sorry. This is the link to the how to build your own solar unit out of CDs or DVDs. I will check that out, Calchemist. So we'll be back in 5 minutes as this video plays. If Mike gets back before me, I'm just going to forward this live stream out and check it on Facebook and Twitter because I believe we are live on there too. So be right back.
I'm back. I am back.
Okay. I was just about to step out, but then an ad happened. I'm playing a how to do your own supposed solar panel with CDs.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I do want to try this one day. But now that you are back, what I did want to get your opinion on, good Mike, as well as Jeremiah, if you're watching this too, is this next video, and I think it's a double bifilar coil that the guy's using with a ring magnet that seems to be showing or producing, he's claiming, free limited electricity at about 12.
Somebody was just Mr. B is
unavailable now. What?
Yeah. Mr. B just texted me. It says your stream just got nuked.
What the heck?
So maybe you might have to restart it.
That's crazy. Let's see.
Maybe they didn't like my spark gap.
Or the got the extreme suspended for policy violations.
What?
That's what it's saying on YouTube right now. Stream suspended for policy violations. Just ridiculous.
Here, I gotta tell Mr. B this. Hold on. His channel just got nuked because of policy violations. He just got a text from YouTube.
So what? Maybe.
Now, this is just off the YouTube feed. How about Facebook and all the other guys?
Yeah, that's what I'm checking right now. Crazy.
Boy, YouTube loves you.
Right? Like, this is just insane.
Either that or they don't like me.
More, or maybe making your own solar panels too. Who knows? Could be the video that stopped it.
Oh, you know what? Could be the Mr. B saying maybe the music in the background might be a violation.
No, the music was stuff we preloaded that is YouTube friendly. We've tried it on other channels and everything. So like we're back. Are we back? We are back. Look at that. Okay,
that's bizarre.
YouTube let us keep going so we don't have to end it.
Yeah, so
look
YouTube's
at that. So it must have been the sharing the how to do the CD build.
Maybe. I don't know. YouTube is funny, man. That's,
right. Now I can't. It's the same channel that is the bifilar coil thing that I wanted to share. So it's like, now do I try sharing it or no? It's probably not even going to work.
Yeah. Maybe they'll.
Ridiculous.
They might nuke you again.
Right? Yeah. Don't want to do that. Okay. Well, then what should we do instead?
Yeah, that was the elevator music.
Or I think more likely it was the solar panel, the US.
Who knows? Or maybe it's my stuff. Maybe my stuff is resonating too much.
Well, it would have blocked your channel before. It did something similar like this on the AlienScientist last week when he was playing a video. It stopped it. And that's why I didn't stop the stream, because I was hoping if I stopped sharing the video that it would keep it going. And it seems to be the case.
Maybe you're taking up too much bandwidth.
Well, no, they just censor certain things. It's super weird.
Yeah, the algorithm on YouTube is getting like freaking, you know, like communism, for crying out loud.
Truly, it is. It's ridiculous. Now I'm trying to think of what I can play instead. I really wanted to demonstrate this double bifilar coil with the ring magnet on it, but not today, Satan, because I don't need a third channel deleted.
Yeah, really.
Right? Ridiculous. Occult technology. Oh, okay. Hidden Technologies copyrights their videos. That's why it was. So I can't show the bifilar coil one now, sadly.
Jesus.
What the heck?
Copyright.
Yeah, literally can't show certain videos, right? Like,
and you're like propping up another person's channel, and then, you know, all they're worried about is copyright infringement. Like, give me a break. It's not like,
and they were claiming free energy, but you can't share their videos. Like, are you kidding me? Ridiculous. See? Who does that?
We should call it. Maybe we'll call it Communist Tube.
Now, don't get me deleted, Mike. Oh, which does remind me, I do want to show that in case my channels go missing again, that you can find me on
I'm not
Odyssey.
helping, am I?
On Odyssey, right here. So both my Crypto Alchemist channel did actually survive on Odyssey, and at BurnEye also is on Odyssey. So free to subscribe and check out odyssey.com and the BurnEye and Crypto Alchemist channels on Odyssey, because, well, at least they don't delete me on the regular.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Okay.
This social media stuff is killing me now. It's like,
it's just ridiculous.
Oh, they're just like messing with everybody all the time.
It truly blows my mind.
Yeah, so one other thing I wanted to get into with you on tonight's show is I've been watching the Energy from the Vacuum series, and they were talking about what Bedini was doing back in the early 80s, doing transmutation of metals. He was taking rocks, putting them in a flask, and putting hydrochloric acid on top of the rock, and it would break down the rock over a period of about a month to 2 months long, and it would form these. You would put like a steel rod or a piece of wood dowel into the solution, or I guess it would have to be metal because it's hydrochloric acid. But anyways, it'd break the rock down, and these it would molecularly basically break it down, and it would start forming these crystals on the rod. Okay, he would shave off all that material that was from the broken down rock, put it on a piece of metal, and he would bake it in the oven at 2,500 degrees for about 30 minutes. And one of the things that he actually started getting real flack for, he was actually monoatomic gold he was producing by this reaction. And he actually had a test done on it, but I'm talking the actual gold in a metal form after he heats it up. And he actually took it to a lab to get tested, and it tested as 24 karat gold, but it had one extra proton or electron, I can't remember what it was, in the makeup. So it was 100% gold, but it had one extra particle in the makeup, which neutron, they could not explain.
Like
something like that. Neutron. Yeah. So he took a lot of flack for that. So he was doing that back in 1981, 1982 time frame.
Oh
And
wow, that's quite early. Quite early
yeah,
stuff.
really early. Yeah, that's around the Floyd Sweet time when he was hanging out with Floyd Sweet. And so he kind of put that on the back burner, put it on the shelf for about 40 years. And he released it on the Energy from the Vacuum series. And then not too far after that came out, he died. Him and his brother both died. So I don't know, it was because of that. I know Floyd Sweet was targeted a couple of times for the work he was doing on the VTA. And I've actually kind of recreated some of the effects of the Floyd Sweet device. I've been kind of doing some testing with some barium ferrite magnets and actually getting them to oscillate. And I've been working a lot with quartz calcite and quartz crystals, stuff like that, the piezo effects. That's what now a lot of my focus is on, the piezoelectric effects and what you could do with it in a coil or on its own. You know, I just been doing a lot of kind of weird experiments with these piezo transducers, and I'm getting some really interesting effects with it. I put actually a transducer on top of a 1-inch thick piece of calcite crystal, quartz crystal. And the amount of frequency amplification I was getting off it was enormous, enormous magnification coming off it. So, yeah, I've been kind of doing some weird experiments with quartz crystals, piezoelectric effects, stuff like that. And yeah, so that's kind of the stuff I've been working on in the background. So there's one more device that I've recently recreated. It was basically seized by the U.S. Patent Office back in 1994, and one of the creators of it, he's actually on Tesla Tech. I have the link for it. It was called the MRA device, magnetic resonant amplifier. And I've recreated the device, and it does work. Literally did it in one night. I've tested several transformers with it, and I'm getting huge gains. And it does involve the piezo. So that you can look up. The guy who, well, is one of, I believe, 3 guys that was involved in the project. One of them I actually have corresponded with through emails. His name is Norman Wootan. And yeah, so his patent has basically been shoved in the closet at the U.S. Patent Office, and they will not release it. They will not grant it or, deny it. They say if you want your patent back, you have to sue us, word for word. And this was all done over the phone with a patent lawyer. So the guy who actually was doing this was a patent lawyer, and he told Norman what happened, and Norman was totally floored. He couldn't believe it. So I've recreated a device. He actually has plans out there how to make it. It's super easy to make. Like a child can make this. That's how easy it is. But he says you have to understand the fundamental science of how it works. If you understand what the piezo does to the transformer in correlation with the signal that you put through the piezo, if you understand that concept, it will work the first time you do it. And I hooked it up, found the resonant frequency of the transformer, and boom, she lit up perfectly. So it all depends on the inductor you're using. They used a very crude one. They used actually a barium ferrite magnet and then wrapped 2 sets of windings, primary and secondary, on it. It was actually 1-to-1. And they actually had it tested by Georgia Tech, a whole whack of universities across MIT, I think, tested it. Georgia Tech, they showed that it was giving an 18-to-1 gain. and they would not sign off on it because of that cold fusion fiasco back in the 90s. They said, we will not put our university, our tech department in jeopardy because of this device. They would not sign off on it. But they did say something weird is going on in this device that's giving it the gains. So they actually tested the crude inductor that they did make, and it only showed a 19% efficiency. So they said whatever's going on in this device is special, and they haven't been able to figure it out.
Yeah,
so
they also stole the patent, though.
Well, the patent office did. Yeah,
Just
they basically,
crazy.
yep, they threw it in, threw it in the side of the desk. They said, there'll be an act of God before this one comes out. They will not release it. So, yeah, that's a really cool device. I'm going to continue to work on that one. I've actually, instead of using one piezo like he did, I've hooked up 3, and my power gains are actually increasing. So the more piezos you add in series, not parallel, in series, my gains keep going up. Every time I add another piezo to the equation, it seems to rise. But when I do that, also the resonant frequency of the transformer changes. I have to change the waveform. So, yeah.
Jeremiah is asking if you have a link for the Tesla Tech presentation on that one.
Yeah, I got it somewhere. I'll have to send it to you. I'll send it to you after the show, and it's about, I believe it's about halfway through the actual conference. They talk about what else? The Tesla turbine he also worked on. He was getting some pretty amazing effects with that one. The MRA device, a couple other ones too. It was actually a really good presentation. So, yeah, that's what I've been working on. So that's what I've been working on pretty much almost every night of the week.
Nice, brother. Yeah, that's a lot of work, my friend, and some good progress. That, like, you're proving over and over again that over unity is possible, it's real, and that there's so many that have done it and just been censored over the years, over and over again.
Yeah. Well, when Georgia Tech and MIT, they all say it's over unity, but they will not sign off on it because they don't want to, back in 1994.
Then the gig is up.
Yeah, the cat's out of the bag, right? They don't want to admit to that. They don't want to sign off on it because they wanted these universities to back them up in the patent courts. And they refused to do it because of the whole fiasco with the cold fusion stuff, right? They said they don't want to put their institution in jeopardy because of this device. They say, yeah, something special is going on here, but that's about it. They don't want anything else to do with it.
Right, because as soon as, oh, wait, cold fusion is real and works, then it pretty much undermines the entire system that is currently built in the hierarchy.
And if if you're old enough to go back to 1994, it was a complete utter shite storm.
Oh, the Martin Fleischmann
and Eugene Matlov and all those guys there. Eugene Matlov, he was murdered. Like the stuff just it's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So
I might do a little alchemy at the end of it. We might go into atomics.
But yeah, you know what, man? You've really got to get an oven, and you got to try the stuff that Bendini was doing with the transmutation using the heat oven.
I've seen others on that too, and there's serious.
You got to take it to the next level. You got to take it to the next level. Try to source out somebody who might have an oven where you can heat this stuff up. You got to start
microwave too.
You've pretty much mastered making the plasma, but now let's separate that. Let's get the actual particles together and actually have a metal And, you know, you can do it. You just have to watch that Energy from the Vacuum series. He explains how he did it. You know,
yeah, that's my homework for the week for sure.
Yeah. And that was a really good episode of Energy from the Vacuum. And he explained it. He was doing this way back in the early 80s, 81, 82 time frame, somewhere in that. Yeah. So it can be done. He's, you know, he was even making palladium, he was making platinum, he was making gold, a whole whack of stuff. Like he showed a palette of all these transmutated, because originally what he was doing.
Do we have a link for that? I would love to watch that right now.
I can get that for you too after the show. I'll send it to your email or text it to you. What he was doing, he's an audio engineer, so he was making audio equipment. And the thing was, what he was doing, he was making these conductors by doing transmutation of the metals to create devices that would smoothen out and modulate audio frequencies better. Now, he had one that he was actually marketing. Now, get this, you'll find this kind of funny. He called it the Force. Okay. About a month later, after he started marketing as the Force, George Lucas sued him. You know, for Star Wars. He says,
wow,
no, he goes, that's my name. I've trademarked the Force. You can't use that name. So yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Just ridiculous, hey?
Yeah.
They're just savages.
Yeah, you know, you use a name and then they try to sue you for names and copyright and trademark infringements. It's just ridiculous.
It's like Corey Gidd trying to sue for using secret space force or something like that, or secret space program.
Space Force or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, everybody wants to sue everybody for their ideas and names, trademarks. It's just like a dog-eat-dog world in, you know, pretty much everything now. They're getting all the flack, you know, with you know, YouTube and all their stupid algorithms and all that stuff. And, you know, if they suspect anything, they just yank your channel off, and, you know, it's ridiculous. It's
right. Like I'm on my third channel for F's sake.
Yeah, who knows better than you, right?
Like almost, I guarantee I got some sort of strike there just for trying to play that other video in this stream. It's freaking ridiculous, the censorship.
One more strike, you're out.
No.
You bad little boy.
Odyssey.com. Soon to be Rumble.
Just take your stuff to the next level, man. Like it seems like you got caught in it. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, badmouth you or whatever like that. Don't take it like that at all. I'm just saying, you know, take it to the next level, because you've already got the foundation. You know how to prepare your metals before you actually do your you know, your alchemy and stuff. You know, your electroplating and all that stuff. You know how to do all that stuff. So that's great. You take that knowledge and you carry on with it. Go to the next level. Try that heating process. I've seen the guy was doing it with freaking microwave ovens. You know, he burned up like 20 of them, but, you know, he didn't care. He just kept doing it, and he was getting some pretty amazing results. He was getting pure gold. He was getting silver, palladium. He was getting all these. And, you know, we talked about it on the show before. He was using broken beer bottles as his, you know, material that he was working with.
Pulling about 15% mass on pure gold out of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
So this right here is gold silver crystals forming off a gold bar on a gold anode there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty intense, weird stuff.
What would be really interesting to see what will happen to that if you heat it up to 2,500 degrees.
Right? Oh, I know. I might even just outside start hooking up a couple of extra microwaves that I have for experimentation.
Yeah, do it outside.
Oh, of course. Like, why I haven't taken it to that next level so far is because I'm worried of the radiation exposure potential within my own home of running the experiment.
Well, not even that. I would also have a fire extinguisher right beside that damn thing.
Oh, of course. Yeah, right? Like, not to mention, don't want to blow up the house with a little plasma reaction.
Yeah, I would do that in the middle of the backyard, yeah. I wouldn't do it anywhere near a house.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I got to get a studio or at least a garage lab or a real lab with some real funding. If anybody wants to fund a real science lab so we can make real plasma developments and experiments and take fusion to the next level.
Yeah, no, you need a gas oven. That's what you need, a gas oven. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Esoteric Gold actually, Mike in Utah there, we did a couple streams with him.
Yeah.
We met him. He's actually got one of those gas ovens for heating up with the Alchemy
excellent
stuff.
tool to have when you're doing your stuff.
Right, but sadly, I can't really set one of those up in a outdoor vending tent that is my current outdoor backyard lab. Probably burn down.
What's the weather like by you, anyways?
It's been pretty decent. It's been in like the high 20s, like low 30s, all of like the last couple of weeks, and then this week now it's down in like low 20s with some rain. So kind of nice to have a little bit of rain in August.
Yeah, we've been kind of a drought here. We just got some rain a couple days ago, a couple good downpours, but we've been pretty much in a drought here. And like today it was like about, humidex was like really bad. Today was hitting like 38. So it was really sticky out, really, really sticky and muggy out. Yeah, we've been getting a pretty hot summer, very dry summer. Crops here are not doing very good. They're very, very short.
Yeah.
Like corn and stuff.
Seeing that everywhere. Like they're almost intentionally setting up a food disaster for this winter.
Oh yeah, like corn. Usually right now they should be about 10 feet tall. They're maybe 6, if that, in height. If that, maybe even lower. So like the cornfields here, I know some of them could get pretty tall, like 8 to 10 feet tall. This year, not even close. Not even close to that. So, but yeah, regardless, what was the other thing I've been? Oh yeah, with the water machine, I've been doing the build for Mr. B. Maybe I can just show that for a second here. I'll change my cam over here. Take a trip in my house. Show the. So I was working on this today for Mr. B. So
nice, the second water machine.
Yeah. So I was working on that. We have to change the pump. The pump's a piece of junk. It draws too much current and everything. So yeah, that's the tank there. This one's actually a smaller unit than the one I have. So we got a big, huge water filter. Yeah, so we got a new pump on order, so I'll have to do that. And I got to do the piezos for the tank to create the frequency. Oh, remember we were talking about orgone? Okay, so Mr. B outsourced this material. It's called cobalt glass. And apparently, it's
the stuff that like will spin the opposite way or it reflects light really crazy? Or
well, no, you can see orgone with this.
Oh, you can actually see the energy.
Yeah. Wow. Cobalt glass. So this is from a very old light that was made of pure cobalt. So he got that for me. So when I'm doing my orgone experiments, I'm trying to see if I can get a hint of the orgone. Now, apparently, orgone gets absorbed by water. So I'm working on something right now that my water machine will also absorb orgone. So if anybody's into Wilhelm Reich stuff,
Nice.
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And it was kind of funny too. I just found this by accident on top of my thing. I also have a cobalt vase. I never even knew I had it. I go,
right? That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even know I had it. And it's like, that's low, got dust on it. But yeah, that's cobalt.
Almost identical glasses.
Yeah, so that's cobalt. You can see orgone with cobalt. So, change my camera back here. All right, back. Yeah, so yeah, I've been working on the new water machine. God, it just goes on and on. I've been a busy little bee. So, yeah, so orgone is another thing that I've been. Yeah, another thing I've been studying on is orgone energy and how it all relates to all the science that I've been working on. And apparently, around a static field, orgone tends to accumulate. So static electricity, like you know, those ionizers that your grandparents used to have when you were a kid, and you walk by and you know smell the ozone in the air. Well, those things are actual orgone accumulators, because when you have high voltage electricity, and same with the Don Smith device, you got a spark gap going. It's drawing in orgone energy, and I found out that what absorbs orgone better than anything out there, water. Apparently, orgone energy is drawn to water. It'll actually accumulate in water. So that's where the idea of this orgone accumulator going into my structured water and actually charging it to the point where you actually get electrical shock from it. Remember, we were talking about that a while ago, where I would drink my structured water and then I would touch something metal, I get shocked. Well, apparently that is the result of my structured water actually accumulating orgone energy, which I did not know. So back in the day, Wilhelm Reich was working on these things called the Cloud Buster. Giant long tubes, they're like 12, 15 feet tall. And he would set it up like on a turret. The thing looked like a missile launcher. And he had these metal tubes. They called it flex. They use them in the electrical industry. And he would have these tubes coming down, and they would go into buckets of water. So the orgone was coming from the sky, going in the tube, and getting absorbed by the water. And yeah, because I've seen pictures of this on the internet, and I'm seeing these buckets, but I didn't know what was in the bucket. And I finally found out they're full of water. And apparently this orgone energy is drawn into those buckets. Also, Eric Dollard, he also made orgone accumulators and actually made plants turn away from the sun and actually focus their leaves on the orgone generators. So
I didn't know about that part. That's one I'm gonna have to look up of Dollars.
Yeah. One of the interviews I've seen with him, he was talking about it, and he said he made an orgone accumulator just like a small box, and he had one of those flex tubes come out with a little like a funnel on the end of it, pointed it towards the plants, and on the other side of the plants was where the sun was. So all the plants focus on the sun. Well, as soon as he hooked up this orgone generator, within a couple hours, plants turned away from the sun and start focusing on the orgone generator. And he says, he says, right there, I knew this was real. So if Eric Dollard says it's real, it's real.
Right. He is a true OG of electrical engineering to the next level.
Yeah.
So C-Ray actually posted the links here of the microwave glass gold alchemy Mike. So here, hopefully we don't get another strike for these, but let's watch this quickly. They're about 10 minutes long. The original.
I don't even know. I don't know if that guy. Yeah, I don't know if he's still alive. He was a pretty old guy when he was doing some of those conferences.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
John
guy here.
I'm
not sure if he's still alive or not.
10% rhodium and iridium, and most commercial
I'll be back one sec.
Yeah, how's the sound before you go?
Yeah, it's fine.
And you can, anything that has quartz in it has gold in it, but it's in monatomic form. So it's in a form that doesn't really, when you put it in the microwave and cook it, it adds electrons and converts these diamagnetic fields, which were Meister fields of electrons, back into real electrons, and they become metallic, and we get metal out of it. And I got samples and pictures.
Metal gold, yeah.
Gold.
Are we in the wrong business? Why are we here? We should be making gold.
You told us actually it's there. It's converting it. Samples. Gold that was made in the microwave.
Gold made in the microwave. Everybody is a microwave. Why don't they all make gold? Instead of going to work in the morning.
The reason this gold is a little lighter color than regular gold because it has platinum in it. This gold, this little sample of gold came out of the beer bottle.
The platinum impurity, I can take impurity. I want impurity.
John, can you please use the microphone?
Yeah, and so the gold I got here is a little lighter color than regular gold because it has platinum in it. And we got this gold came out of melted beer bottles.
Yeah.
How much beer do you have to drink?
The trouble is, you take too much beer, you overmelt the stuff, you have a meltdown. And believe me, I went to about 8 or 10 microwaves just trying to get the temperature. The biggest problem in working with microwaves is controlling the temperature. You can't put a thermocouple in there. You have to learn to get an eyeball on the temperature.
Oh my
You can see that I have it on these charts. You can, if you heat it for about 10 minutes, it becomes red heat. In 15 minutes, it becomes orange heat. And then another 10 minutes becomes yellow heat. And you're up around 1100 degrees centigrade. And when you get at that temperature, now you can melt it, can't see almost anything in there. I've even melted magnetite at 1500 C and aluminum oxide at 3200 C. It's just the insulation and that represents, and the quality of your crucible represents how high of a temperature you can get. And of course, if it gets too hot, the microwave turns off. So we got people working with commercial microwaves where you could run for hours without melting down. I'm going to take a peek now and see how close we are to getting melted.
So you're saying the chamber itself gets too hot?
Yeah, the whole microwave, they have thermal cutoffs. But if you get a commercial one, they're designed to have cooling units in them. You could run them longer. They're running about $3,000.
And you said you have
Take a look at this now. You can just take a quick peek here, and you can see that's pretty hot. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to see. There we go.
So that was in there for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to put my sample.
So what's
This has
your
got silver in it, and I'm going to melt this silver in another 10 minutes. It'll be hot enough to cast.
what's the white blocks made of?
Lightweight insulation. It's a high aluminum silicate. It's a very lightweight material.
Really?
And it's a good insulation. It'll take about 1300 C.
And it doesn't heat up in there.
No, well, lightweight goes right through.
So is that silver you made or you bought?
No, that's regular store-bought silver.
Regular
Just show you,
silver.
I can't do the gold process.
Can you pick up the
Many
mic again,
iterations,
please,
you gotta
John?
Look underneath, but it's the same equipment, same process and stuff. Anyone's interested?
I would hold the mic.
Anyone interested in learning this process? I got a DVD called Growing Gold. It goes about an hour and a half, and it gives you, describes all the equipment and procedures needed. And I sold about 50 or 100 of them, and there are about 5 people now that are making gold using the massacre process.
Do you have cards?
How much does it cost?
And I have these
For those who
DVDs.
can't
20
afford
bucks
it.
for the DVD.
How much is the DVD?
20.
20 bucks.
I'll buy one. 20 bucks.
I'll buy one too.
John, anything more you want to say about it?
About the DVD, yeah.
Well, I mean, about the process.
Process, yeah. Well, did you get
But no, not yet.
You got one?
I should never give money first, then they ask you. Did you get one?
He put the mic down.
Second one.
Anyone want?
So is it? It's running right now. We got 15 minutes to go here.
15 more to go?
Into
Oh, half an hour.
Getting rhodium out of black sand, and we got a full description of it. Here's the rhodium and here's the iridium. Rhodium and iridium out of black sand. I have a full report on that.
Rhodium's twice as expensive.
It's more expensive, and the whole extraction of the equipment that you use, the melters and the crucibles and everything.
John, why gold? Why uridium? Why silver? Why these metals? Why not others?
They're more precious.
The ones.
No.
Center of the
Pick up the mic. Pick up the mic.
He knows, I see.
The elements in the center of the periodic table, down near the bottom, that's the gold, platinum, palladium, rhodium, all the precious elements. They have a structure where when they exist as single atoms, they call what they call ormus material. Ormus means orbitable, rearranged monatomic elements. The outer electron.
Who's the guy that gave it that name?
David Hudson.
David Hudson, Ormus Materials.
I talk about it. I actually have some quotes from him and some rewrites about what David Hudson did. He says, everything you walk on, everything you breathe, everything you drink contains precious elements of gold, platinum. Look at, I got goosebumps. That's a sign of absolute truth. It contains these precious elements. And the trick is, most of them is monatomic. They have no electrons. They have chemically inert materials. And they had to be activated to bring them back.
So, John, are you saying
secrets in getting it out of the thing is to add graphite, because any crystal structure, the edges of graphite, the crystals have extra electrons, so you got to add electrons to bring it back. So that was one of the secrets I developed. It's in this right up here.
So what made you think of that? What made you think to do that?
Well, Hudson says that they lose electrons, and everybody else has been working with it, trying to develop techniques of adding electrons. I know a guy taking water and making monatomic water by separating it with magnetic fields, then taking that water and running electrons into it, and he gets 8% gold out of water.
So John, would it be fair to say that there are more than one kinds of gold? Is that what you're saying? There's regular gold and there's Ormus gold?
There's a whole series of elements that are monatomic. You had to redesign a periodic table of materials that don't exist on the physical here, if you want to call it that. But they fit, they're very small atoms, they fit interstitially within the structure of regular atoms. So any crystalline structure, rhodium, iridium, quartz, I mean quartz or
Can be modified.
Yeah, any limestone, all these things here. Bill has been doing that too. Bill just took my tape.
Bill's going to go later today. He's going to do something similar.
But he uses that stuff. He melts them in a big crucible like this, and he's selling all the information.
So John, what's it going to take for somebody else to duplicate what you're doing here today?
Try to take and practice and burn out half a dozen microphones. Learn how to control the temperature. Temperature controls the big thing, and make sure you keep your gloves on and stuff. And stay at least 3 or 4 feet away from the microwave. No matter how good they are, they all leak a little bit, and you just go in and out when you're cooking here. And practice a lot. Practice. You know what they say? An alchemist, repeat. And also another secret, the alchemist is part of the process. That's what's not written down. That's why all these guys couldn't follow their form. They get their notebooks in. You have to believe in it. You have to think. You set up the right vibes. Matter likes to be loved. And that's part of it. We are the creators. We are. God said, look, you kids, get down here and continue. I started these laws of physics and chemistry. Get down here and finish this creation process. And use your talents, and you can judge on how much you use your talents, and you do it by being a nice guy. If you do that, you move up to the next level.
So John, we got 12 minutes to go. When 12 minutes is up, what are we going to see?
Well, I'm going to pour it right now. I think it might be higher.
Okay.
Take a look.
John, what do you usually use as your base material to get gold?
Container glass, pickle jars, taster's choice. It's got to be a glass container.
So glass is a good source.
And John, where do you get this? Where do you get this special dirt? How do you just take dirt out of your backyard and get gold?
In Albuquerque, we have Sandia Mountain, which is 11,000 feet high.
Can anybody do this no matter where they live, or?
Most black sands, most all crystal materials, quartz, limestone.
Even in Minnesota?
Crystal material has elements in it.
Do you mean by black sand magnetite?
Yeah, black sand magnetite. Right.
Okay, yeah. I'm trying.
You can get that in cement color.
He's focused here. All right, here we're going to see.
We're going to see.
Here we're going to go.
Yet.
All right.
It's not quite melted. A little bit more. It's another.
Wait another 10 minutes.
Okay, you gotta love it.
Maybe a little bit, John. I'm giving you back the mic.
Okay, it's not quite melted yet, but probably another.
Excuse me.
The point I'm making is you can heat things high enough to do this, in a commercial microwave, a store-bought. I started out by going to Target's for 39 bucks. I bought a 600-watt microwave, and I was melting metal in that within a couple of days. The reason I got into magnetite because I live in Albuquerque, and Sandia Mountain is about a mile.
All right, so that was that one, and yeah, so Malowski, John Malowski, is the guy who that was, and he is an amazing guy. I just got the link. Thank you, C. Way. Yeah,
I'm trying to find that link for Norman Wooten. Hold on.
John, obituary. He did pass away. That is sad that, well, at least we got to see some of his wisdom and knowledge saved there. YouTube, stop deleting scientists and science streams because we need this information to stay. Quickly, I'll also now play Making Gold from Glass, the Blue Eagle Alchemy project. Another good one. We had talked about this in a previous stream, Mike, and thank you, C. Ray, for sharing the link because I had been trying to remember the name forever. I knew it was an eagle, but I forgot the Blue Eagle Alchemy project.
What we have here at the Blue Eagle Alchemy project is, in fact, a modern-day alchemy where we take from waste materials and our own design technology process and create new precious elements.
The following video clips will walk you through Blue Eagle's proven alchemical metal making process. This is my alchemist colleague, Mr. Joseph Tills, who will be assisting me today. Scientists and engineers are genuinely reluctant to come out of their alchemical closets, and it should be noted that Joseph has been outed now as a modern-day alchemist for over 20 years. The process starts by wet grinding beer bottle glass in a hammer mill from the local bottle recycling company.
I just sent you the link for Norman's video.
The ground glass is weighed and mixed with other minor seed ore components and put in a crucible. The crucible is inserted in an insulation pack and placed in the microwave oven for micro smelting. The microwave ovens are modified with process technologies permitting us to control the temperature profile at the desired target for the particular metal we are making. The seed ore is held at temperature for an hour and a half, setting the prescribed precious metal bloom condition, and then quench poured into a pail of water. Now at this point it can be reground and hydraulically separated to recover the gold, or ran through a fire assay to determine the yield of the burn. The fire assay method is a long trusted way of determining metal yields, as all the impurities are absorbed into the lead assay flux, leaving only precious elements. The ore materials are heated in a crucible in the forge, and the lead button is recovered at the bottom of the cone mold, squared by anvil, and then placed in the assay furnace in a bone ash capel. After the assay is completed, the size of the gold bead can be optically measured with the microscope optical scale, and then from its diameter, yields calculated from a standard assay chart.
This commercial process produces very high commercial yields, and convention would have it that this is totally impossible. And all I can say to that is, thank God for progress in science. I want to be very clear that the substrates that we use, the waste products for our seed ores, contain absolutely 0 parts per billion trace elements. These are barren waste products. It's the process itself, mimicking nature's conditions, that produces the new precious elements. At a time when the Earth's resources are being depleted faster than ever in our history, this Blue Eagle technology process will ultimately lead to a dial-a-metal frequency production of precious elements. It will simply be much cheaper and cleaner to create new elements than to mine them and dig them from the bowels of the earth. The Blue Eagle technology is temperature and frequency specific. When these conditions are set and achieved, we create what we call an elemental bloom condition. In that condition, these new elements are formed. Repeated lab trials to date have shown this process to be very economical. And in fact, the yields that we're talking about far exceed the richest gold mines on Earth today. Typically, a rich gold mine would be anywhere between a quarter and maybe at the highest possible 1 ounce per ton of gold yield. And we're talking from waste product seed ores ranges of yields from 200 to 400 ounces per ton. Now, I know there are mining geologists who would literally just roll their eyes or even fall off their chair at hearing this statement, but I stand behind that. Not only are we comfortable in stating a yield number like 200 to 400 ounces per ton from beer bottled glass, but we haven't yet found the upper limits. We know that there's further gains and further yields to be achieved. We're working with kitchen microwave ovens here, not suited to the process, and when we have the funding and the support, we will be able to use specifically designed and engineered apparatus and start achieving these yields and take these yields even to higher numbers.
Oh, that's pretty fascinating stuff, turning glass into pure gold.
Yep, and that's what this guy was doing.
Indeed. A couple of them there, right?
Yep.
But so more than one source verifying that this is possible. And I'm going to have to read up on John Milewski there and his process, because it was something else. Just a microwave turning that glass into gold, and knowing the knowledge he had about the monoatomic aspects of it, the Ormus and all of that.
That's what I'm saying. You got all this plasma stuff sitting there. It's like now you could take it to the next level and start changing it over and separating all the elements.
Exactly. That's why I've been keeping it, because I've known about this for a very long time. Dan Winters talks about it a lot, and some other researchers that have been doing it. And once you put it into these microwaves, add these extra energies in, that you get all sorts of transmutations and fusions and stuff like that, that truly will be the next level of technology and production, and hopefully eventually lead to essentially that Star Trek technology where you just beep, 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 and it creates whatever you want out of
the replicator,
replicators, exactly.
So I got about 15 minutes, and then I got a jet for the night. It's almost 1 a.m. here.
Fair enough. Yeah, my back is absolutely killing me, so we will do another 10-15 minutes here. Should I share a little bit of that Norman L. Wooten
sure. Yeah, turn it to, I'll tell you what time frame. Hold on.
Okay.
Turn it to just bear with me here for a second.
Oh, good.
Turn it to about turn it to 50 minutes.
50 minutes, okay.
Yep. Yep. About 50 minutes. Yeah, right where that American flag was.
Okay. Oh my.
Next thing we're going to go into.
Sorry,
the
stupid
MRA.
ads coming up. But yeah, I really have to get the Brave browser to stop having these ridiculous interruptions. I will get on that for one of the next ones. Here we go. All right.
Came along. Back in 1994, actually December 94, we did a formal presentation of the magnetic resonant amplifier. And immediately, as soon as we demonstrated this thing, there it is. That was version number 1. Now, some of you electronics guys will look at this and recognize the old Hewlett-Packard vacuum tube signal generator. That is a HP 200 CD. By the manual from Hewlett-Packard, that thing was capable of 1 watt. It was a vacuum tube amplifier that put out 1 watt. Our very first version that we put on the Keeley net, and they put it right out on the internet, and it caused havoc. Look at the figures down here. We were running the gain off that signal generator at 60%. That was with equivalent resistance. We measured the input to the MRA at 0.685 watts. On the output, to eliminate any argument with these strap hangers out there, we said, all right, we're working this thing at 32 kilohertz, okay? High audio frequencies. And we had a barium ferrite core, we had a lead titanate crystal, a piezo, and we had a 1-to-1 winding on this original, very first one. And it was crudely wound with number 18 THHN wire. And we wound this thing. We did a full wave bridge to rectify it to DC. We put a 2 microfarad filter cap. You could put the scope on there, and it was flat ash line DC that was coming out of this. 2.75 watts measured DC with a 0.685, which gave you a 4-to-1 over unity ratio. What happened whenever this thing hit the internet, I mean, we were just a deluge of emails. Everybody's up in the air, you know, this is impossible. Well, it so happened that we had a man in Atlanta. Bob Taylor was an investor. He was a builder, built homes around Atlanta, and he was in Roswell, Georgia. He was working on a similar idea, and he saw ours on the internet, and we dumped it, and we published it as, we're giving this to the world. We don't want anything. We're giving it away. You take it, build it, and do whatever you want with it. We just gave it away. We didn't want to get in any trouble with the thing for the implications, because you're looking at another cold fusion fiasco whenever you come out and talk about this. As soon as Bob Taylor saw it, ring, ring, he calls us and said, can you come to Atlanta and bring everything you have on the MRA to do a presentation? And I said, fine. We load up my pickup. Phil was involved with us back then. Loaded up a pickup, and we go to Roswell, Georgia, and get to his office. And he said, I hope you don't mind, but I have some gentlemen here that want to observe this demonstration on your MRA. And I said, fine. He introduced us to the financial guru for IBM Corporation, the head of procurement from IBM. And the man was retiring. And he said, I would love to have a feather in my hat when I retire. He said, we're really interested in this. Demonstrated. He had 2 EE engineers from IBM with him. We set it all up, ran it through the paces and everything, and they said, holy crap, you got to be kidding me. And they said, get the patent on the thing, apply for the patent, get the patent, we want to buy it. He said, I have a blank check that we want this for computer, laptop computers, cell phones, everything for battery, perpetual battery, using this technology. So, yes, sir. So Taylor, we've signed contracts with Taylor and everything. We started the patenting process. And Dr. Robert Bass, he was voted Physicist of the Year in 2003. Dr. Bass was our patent attorney, and we got the ball rolling. Well, Taylor had the MRI, as you see it right here. He gets all anxious and everything, and he goes over to Concordant Industries there in Atlanta, and he said, put this on your test bench and see what you come up with. They tested it 10-to-1 over Unity. He said, okay. He goes down the road to Scientific Atlanta. Everyone here knows who Scientific Atlanta is. They make all the long-haul communication dishes and all of the head-end gear on long-haul communications. So they take it into their physics lab and everything. They had a different version. They test it. They get 10-to-1. And they said, sign an affidavit to that. And they said, no, we're not going to do that because we got our comfort reputation to consider here. So in the meantime, we took a version of this and sent it down to Hal Putoff down at Austin. And everyone knows the background behind Hal Putoff. He's a great man and everything. And he issued the 1-watt challenge for anybody that can build something that was self-running that would produce a 1-watt excess power. Well, this didn't meet that criteria because it's not self-runner. But we wanted him to test it to see if it in fact was over Unity. Well, he was testing it down there, and for days after days, he was looking at the same thing we were looking at over Unity, and he couldn't explain it. And he is the man that issued the challenge. So what he did was put a lump resistance in the primary of this circuit. He put a lump resistance in here, and we'll go into what happens. See that curve right here? For the MRA to work, you have to work right there. And that is called the zero loss or lossless region on the resonant curve. You've got to operate it up in this region right here. You put a lump resistance in the circuit, you chop the top off of this, and it becomes a common old resonant circuit. And you put resistance in a resonant circuit to broaden the bandwidth whenever you want to put information on a wave like this, a carrier. That's how you establish bandwidth, by putting a lump resistance. Well, he publishes on the internet that this thing was only 50% of Unity. Well, that killed the MRA worldwide. Boom. Hal Putoff said it's 50%. That killed it technically. Nobody was interested. Well, it doesn't work. So Newt Gingrich, Speaker of the House, personal friend of Taylor, Newt says, we'll take your device. I'll take it over to Georgia Tech, to their physics lab, and let them test it. So physics department takes it in. They said, okay, we're going to operate it exactly what you prescribed right there. You got to operate it in that resonance. You can't play around with this circuit. You've got to operate it as you specify to get the over Unity. So they get it in their lab, and they're running it and everything, and they're getting a solid 18-to-1 over Unity out of the version we sent them. And the lead guy said, Hal Putoff's report of 50% Unity, 50%, he said, you can't make the MRA that bad. So what he did is he took the transformer out of the thing, which is crudely wound, took it out of the circuit, and tested the transfer of energy from primary to secondary with a crude transformer. It tested 19% efficiency. Okay, 19%. But he's getting 18-to-1 out of the thing. He said, we can't explain what's going on here, but it damn sure works. Taylor said, all right, will you testify to the patent office that this thing is 18-to-1? They said, no, reputation of the school. He said, we went through the cold fusion fiasco with Stanley Pons, that bunch, and he said, we will not subject the university to the flack that's going to come from this. He said, we'll sign off, even though your transformer is only 19% efficient, we'll sign bottom line that it's 99.9% efficient. And he said, tongue in cheek, I'm telling you that there's something weird going on here, but we don't know how it works. So that's how we wound up out of Georgia Tech University with a good solid report, 18-to-1. Next stop was along the line. We went to Teledyne Rhine with a different version. They got 6-to-1, and they documented it as over Unity. And the final version that we did, there's the sine waves on the scope using the analog scope. We're using some very good scopes on this. We had, you name it, I had a palette of oscilloscopes. And there's tuning. And look at all of the rich harmonics you're getting in here and these sine waves right here. And the final tuning, this is just one of the versions. The final tuning looked like this. The curly Q, the heavy curly Q is current. The brighter, higher peak there is your voltage. Now, we were operating this thing slightly inductive, and somebody that's smart out here is going to say, you've got a capacitive picture up there. That's capacitive. Well, we made up the slides. We made a little mistake, and the slide was flipped upside down. So if you want to look at it as inductive, get up out of your chair, turn around and look between your legs at the thing, and it'll be an inductive curve, okay? That's the solution to that. He already had the slides, so I couldn't call him. Turn that slide over. But anyway, you get into some of the technicalities there. There was my MRA bench out there in the research lab. I had one of everything that you could name in there. Like I said, I had a palette of oscilloscopes. They were everywhere. So we did a lot of interesting research in there, including the crystal technology that Ken Hawkins was working with Dr. John Maluski. So that was the story of the MRA. Now, bottom line, let me tell you what happened at the patent office. Bob Bass called the patent office on the week that they were going to issue the patent. And he said, what's the status? And the head of the patent office got on the phone and said, we're not going to issue the patent. And he said, what is your reason for rejection? They said, we're not going to reject it. Bass said, you're kidding me. He said, you got to, if you're not going to issue it, you got to reject it. Give me a reason. He said, we're not going to do either. We're going to lock it in the file cabinet forevermore. Sue us. That was the head of the patent office said, Bob, sue us. And that was the end of that. It's still locked in a drawer in the patent office. Okay, lead-filled Tesla coil. Everybody wants to know what happened to the old go.
That's it.
That's
the story of the MRA.
Yeah, and just like to hear the amount of science that has been held back, that like just coward professors refusing to step up and acknowledge real discoveries so that technology can advance.
This is 1994.
Right, like 30 years ago. It's ridiculous. Yes. Like, oh, we got 18-to-1 over Unity, but that doesn't exist and it's impossible. And
that's at Georgia Tech. And that's at Georgia Tech.
Right? So it's absolutely everywhere. Just these institutions refuse to step up to the plate and advance humanity.
Anybody who wants to mess with it, to make it as easy a child can make it. That's how ridiculously easy. The device I used, what I did, you can go out tomorrow, go to Home Depot or go to Rona or whatever, or Lowe's or whatever, pick up a doorbell transformer. Costs about $20. So instead of putting in the 120 volts, you would put that to your load. The 120 volt connection would be 2 black wires or whatever they have. Those 2 wires go to your load, like a light or whatever you want. And the low end, that's what you connect to your piezo. And just follow the diagram that was on the video. You can actually, do a Google search, you'll see it. It'll show you exactly how to wire it. And I put it together in about 10 minutes. And I got it to work. I've tested it with 4 different coils, and each one has its own resonant frequency. ranging from 1 kilohertz to 50 kilohertz, depending on what I was using as the inductor. And it works. It works. Buy yourself some piezos on Amazon or eBay and hook it up to a signal generator.
Yeah, Jeremiah says he is going to try making one of these, and thanks you for sharing, because that is awesome, right? And it's just, there's so many of these discoveries, and that they just need to be verified like you're doing and like this community is doing, and then start implementing them together. And all of these advancements are within a very short time will truly lead to huge things once
that's why
sees it.
That's why I'm doing all these different builds. I want to see what's real, and the MRA is real. It works. So you just have to play with it for a while and get the efficiencies up. Play with different coils, inductors, wiring. I was using 3 piezos in series and seemed to get more power gain out of it. So yeah, just play around with the device. It's super easy to hook up. I did it in like 10 minutes. I had it running. So, and the last test I did, I was putting in, I believe it was just shy of, it was 4.5 watts. I was putting in DC, and I was getting 9 watts out. So
that's pretty good right there.
Yeah. And the light was fully illuminated.
Plus the load. Wow.
Yeah.
Before you go, I would like your opinion on this style of free energy project. I've seen a lot of these videos over the years. They claim it's incorporating a speaker, the magnet, a couple coils, solenoids of copper wire, and I believe a spark gap. So it's like it could be taking energy in from the actual speaker, right? And the electromagnetics of that. But I've yet to see someone that I know actually replicate it. But I would love your opinion on these style of builds and if you think they're possible.
Oh, don't even trust these videos.
No.
But a piezo works similar to a speaker. It vibrates. It's a vibrator is what a piezo is, but it's using a quartz crystal on the inside. That's I don't trust those videos.
Don't trust them?
No. It's garbage. But yeah, a piezo works in a similar thing like a speaker. It's a vibrator. Yeah, that's total fake. Yeah, it's garbage. Yeah, I've seen
because I'm seeing this ring magnet being elevated above it from the bottom speaker magnet, so it's being kept pushed up just by electromagnetic force and kept in place from the rod there. Could that potentially be creating a permanent electromagnetic field with a load of it?
No, because there has to be movement. There has to be
that's what I'm saying, the
induction.
movement, because there would be constant acceleration of that ring magnet down, but it's frozen in that spot due to the repulsion of this.
Yeah, if the magnet is stopped, there will be no induction. There has to be movement.
Okay.
There has to be movement. It's Faraday's law of induction. You have to have a magnet in motion through an inductor. See, when it's stationary, there's no current being made. Now, if it was moving constantly up and down really fast, repetitious through the inductor itself, then you'll be getting current. This is garbage, total garbage.
Definitely not worth the time to try.
No. Those videos
much better builds out there.
Yeah, I would focus on the MRA device.
And then what about this style? This style I think you might like a little better. I think it's similar to like Jared Morin's style. He's using
this guy's been known to do I already know who this guy is. So, some of his stuff's okay. Some of it sort of works, but
right, it's like puts a lot of work into these designs.
And you know what? Look how many views this guy gets, like in the millions.
Right? It says anybody tried replicating any of it.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of magnets, a couple of different types of motors in there.
And it's going to spin on its own? No, that doesn't work. No.
It's looking like it's almost going. And then once you connect it to itself, does it? No.
I've seen similar things like this before, and they don't work. Like he's going to get, no, that's garbage. Don't believe those ones. Those.
It's like they're not showing where these cords are going to either, right? It's like you should be seeing a closed circuit.
Exactly. It's all garbage.
I'm so sad that the double bifilar ring magnet one that I wanted to show you is copyrighted because looks like a very simple closed design that it'd be easy to like replicate to test it essentially to make the build.
Send me the link. I want to see it.
I will do.
But anyways, I got a jet here. It's after.
For sure, brother. Thank you for joining us, Mike. It is always a pleasure. And for those that haven't, make sure you go over and sub to Mike at Faraday Research on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bernie.
No worries, brother. Much love, and we will see you again soon, brother.
See everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in.
Much love, Mr. Mike. And prayers for your dad to beat COVID there.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, take care, guys.
You as well, brother.
Bye.
All right. So the last video here that we're going to share before we end this stream is the Vernon Roth describes assembly and operation of alchemical hydrogen cell. As well, that's what it's all about, getting this brown gas, this hydrogen, the HHO, whatever it is, but through electrolysis, us being able to turn water into fuel out of just a small amount of electricity. So, on that note, here it is.
July 29th. And I'm with Vernon Roth here. This is actually the second part of a two-part video series. The first part, we'll have a link there in the bottom in this YouTube video where you can see where he described this alchemical process where in his electrolysis scenario, he's found that some of the elements that are in the water in certain electrolysis scenarios are duplicated, whether they're minerals or whether they are chemicals, chemical compounds. And the question I didn't ask him was, what about molecules like insulin, for example? He found that elements that are within the water are duplicated, so that if you start with one part, in some cases he saw with the cycling of the water, they actually had 13 times as much of that element at the end than they had at the beginning. And this is true with gold particles and with some fairly complex chemical compounds that he described. That's in part A. We went through all that, kind of the philosophy behind it. And this video here is to describe the apparatus. He's actually agreed to go ahead and take things apart and show us exactly how he makes this. Not exactly. I mean, this is going to be fairly technical, but you know, it's not like he's going to show you, you know, A to Z, but he is going to give us a good overview going through each component. And now that I've given that explanation, I would like to go ahead and turn it over. I'm going to go ahead and control the camera. But I'd like Vernon to recap what I just said in his words to begin with. And then we'll cut this video into however segments we need to as part B of this series. Okay?
All right, let's go for it. Well, thank you, Sterling, and thank you for everybody for being here. And we're going to move on forward. So I think that one of the most important things that we can, do with our energy and for the future is to find out more and better ways to use water in our world. And that's really a huge portion of my research, as many of you have experienced the spark of life water and its various incarnations and what it's used for. That's really my driving force, is to find out different ways to use water in the world. And so that's what I do with hydrogen. And I make hydrogen and oxygen from electricity and water. So that's what we're talking about here. And this is a basic cell. This is what we call a dry cell.
Hey, before you get into that, this is actually take two. The first one we thought the camera was rolling and it wasn't. Right. Tell us about what happened with after you gave your presentation. Two people came up to you.
Yesterday, after I gave my presentation, two people independently came up to me and said, we also have experienced the multiplication of elements that we did not expect at all, using energy, magnetic fields, and geometrical structures. And it's occurring on a much smaller scale than what we're experiencing here, but it is occurring. And so they said, we are so glad that that someone else talked about it, because now we know that we're not crazy. Now we know that this is actually reality. So it's very exciting stuff, and this is going to, I feel like it's going to be happening more and more. And many people may already actually be doing it, not knowing what's going on. So with that said, we will start with hydrogen. And why don't we start where I started? And what we have over here is a conventional, it uses some principles of Bob Boyce's work with hydrogen. It uses some principles of George Wiseman and Ewell Brown's work with hydrogen. It's a simple hydrogen cell with parallel stainless steel plates in it. You input 120 volts DC, and this is not supposed to be in there. And the gas comes out of the hydrogen unit, goes into the reservoir, which acts like a trap and an expansion chamber to trap vapors. And then the gas feeds from the reservoir into a first stage bubbler, this is a safety bubbler, and it also serves as a wash for the gas to wash off any sodium hydroxide. And then the gas escapes out the top. And this little hose you see down at the bottom is the water feed to the hydrogen device. So gas and a little bit of water comes out here, and the water returns to the bottom and fills the device. This is a small device. Not a very small device, but it's a simple device. Excuse me. And this was commissioned by a friend of mine to help run his diesel generator on his mountain retreat. And it uses a set of solar panels. About 1,000 watts of solar panel goes into this and boosts his diesel engine. Once it leaves that bubbler,
just on a tangent, what kind of improvements does he see on the diesel generator using that?
Well, what we calculated was that because there is no parasitic drag from an alternator to feed his engine, using this and one other piece of technology that's not mine, so I can't talk about it, but it's a passive device. We calculated that he will get about a 90% boost in his diesel generator system. So solar power. It's
almost a double of his.
Almost a double, absolutely.
And then that's taken into account the wattage from the solar panels.
Yes, it's like a voltage multiplier. You were using water instead of. And we're using water and hydrogen. That is not what you're going to get if you have a parasitic drag and you're running it off of your own generator. That's just with the solar panels. But he found that it was cheaper for him to do that and use a generator as his existing power source than it was to install a big solar system with batteries and all the electrical components that would go along with that. This is more plug and play for him, and he likes that. So that's what this one is built for.
With 1,000 watt solar panel, he was able to power his house.
1,000 watts and a diesel generator.
And a diesel generator,
yeah,
right.
A diesel generator.
Right. So he's running his house on the diesel generator with a 1,000 watt solar panel.
Right, essentially.
Okay.
And 10% of the normal fuel.
Is this augmenting? So he's also plugged into the grid, or is he off grid?
He will be off grid once he goes this way because his electricity will be cheaper with this method than it will be off of the conventional grid system. So this is also what I brought to show a simple system, the most simple system that you can create. Hydrogen device, reservoir, bubbler, and this is very safe, and it's excuse me, and it's got a lot of safeties built in, especially at the end when the water or when the hydrogen comes out of there and goes into here. This is our flashback arrestor and the last line of defense for this system, which it's filled with water and it bubbles through it, and then the gas goes to the generator. And if we were running a torch, we were going to run a torch, say for welding in a welding shop, one more system would be installed here, and that is this flashback arrestor.
And this is something off the shelf?
This is something off the shelf. You buy them for $40 to $60 a pair. You get it at any welding shop. I highly recommend it.
And it's called a flashback arrestor.
It's called a flashback or a sparkback arrestor. They use them for oxygen and acetylene torches, as well as hydrogen torches as well.
Now,
so that's what I recommend.
On this system down here, are you using any kind of conditioning of the DC that's coming into it? Are you using
No, we're not. It's straight line DC, and I went with straight line DC because it's easier to work with. The only current control that I put in the system is the number of plates and the concentration of catalyst. When I started working with this, I started working with electronic gizmos and the pulse width modulators and all that. Burned them up pretty quick in my experimental phase and realized I wanted something a little bit more foolproof. And so I developed a way of calculating number of plates to the current ratios that I wanted, and also the catalyst, the amount of catalyst in the system could help control the current flow.
Did we go over those numbers this morning?
We have not yet, and so I was gonna outline that because I can illustrate it very easily with these.
Okay.
But essentially, I'll just give you the numbers right now. Maximum 2.23 volts per cell. Maximum 1/4 1/4 amp per square inch of plate surface. So for instance, we have a 6x6 plate here, so that's 36 square inches. And if we were using the 6x6, not including the ring in here, just ignore that. If we were using the 6x6 plate, putting current across that, our limit would be 9 amps because, excuse me, 9 divided by 36 is, of course, 4. So that's our 1/4 amp per square inch. That's the maximum amount. I actually like to run about if using that plate, I like to run about 5 amps just to make certain that there's a nice margin of safety there.
So whether you had 2 plates or 100 plates, you go based on one surface. You're not going to exceed this cell system.
That's right.
By 9 amps.
That's right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, this system, we'll get into that. So we've got. If we were using these plates, we would go 9 amps. Since we've actually cut off surface area in this device, I go less than 9 amps. And then we go to 2.35 volts or 2.34 volts per cell. So there's
more than 2.3.
No more, because you'll start to burn up your plates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells in there. So you would not go more than 14 volts.
Okay, for the layperson, I'm seeing, you know, at 24. So what are you calling a cell?
This is a double unit. Okay, there's a negative plate in the center, and a positive plate on one side and a positive plate on the other. So what you're actually seeing is two sets of hydrogen, a two stacked hydrogen device.
And so going from this side to this side, what are you calling a cell?
The cell is the different distance between plates. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells in there. And then we go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no, there's 6. Yeah, that's 6.
Okay.
6. So there's 6 on each side with a negative center.
So there's a positive and a negative.
Positive on the outside.
2 sets of positive and negative. 12 pieces of metal makes a 6-cell plate.
Yeah,
okay.
And this appears to be the conventional cell that you can buy on almost any hydrogen cell device, but it's not, and we'll get into the difference. But we have 2 inputs: fuel in, or excuse me, water in, hydrogen out.
30.
What's that?
30.
Say what?
13 plates.
Yeah, there's 13 plates there.
Oh, there's 13 pieces of metal?
Yeah,
okay.
13 pieces of metal. Negative in the center, and you can see I slip on a little
negative or neutral?
Negative.
You call it
neutral.
Negative.
Neutral are the ones in between the negative and the positive.
Okay.
You just put on a little spade connector on the bottom, slip it on, and then the positive go up there on a little spade connector on the edges. I sell this for $300. This is actually my breather unit. I use this to breathe Brown's gas, but we'll get into that as we move forward. So that is the essential. That is essentially what we're dealing with here. Only on that one, it's a larger scale. So there's 60 plates in that device with a nice little water jacket on either side to make certain things stay cool. And 60 plates takes 120 volts, so that's 2 volts per cell. So, or thereabouts. And on that one, we're dealing with a little bit larger plates, so I can actually go up to 12 amps per excuse me, 12 amps for the whole unit, because the plates are actually larger.
So for the voltage, it's additive for the number of cells.
That's right.
And for amp, it's based on the surface of a single cell.
That's right.
As far as what max.
We're in a series system, so it's the amperage is based off of one plate versus the voltage being based off of the entire set of plates.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of the technicalities that we go into with this type of hydrogen device. And these are rules that have been tried and proven many times. If you go over amperage, you'll start to crystallize your plates and they won't produce gas very well. If you go over voltage, you'll start to break down your plates, and you don't want that.
And let me ask, rules or whether they are chemical compounds. And the question I didn't ask him was, what about molecules like insulin, for example? He found that elements that are within the water are duplicated. So that if you start with one part, in some cases he saw with the cycling of the water, they actually had 13 times as much of that element at the end than they had at the beginning. And this is true with gold particles, and with some fairly complex chemical compounds that he described. That's in part A. We went through all that, kind of the philosophy behind it, and this video here is to describe the apparatus. He's actually agreed to go ahead and take things apart and show us exactly how he makes this. Not exactly. I mean, this is going to be fairly technical, but it's not like he's going to show you, A to Z, but he is going to give us a good overview going through each component. And now that I've given that explanation, I'm Sterling Allen here. We're at the Tesla Tech Conference 2011 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, July 20.
All right, so that was pretty much the end of that video, although I guess it is a 9-part series I'm hearing, so there's a lot more to it. That will be all of our homeworks to watch. Scott Dubois just joining in. Welcome. I was just about to end the stream, but we will do one more Brucey bonus share of a video for everyone. It's how to make a simple HHO generator for making your hydrogen out of washers and I believe just a simple battery this guy's using. Just showing how little actual current is needed to make so much hydrogen, the insane amount of bubbles, right? The more surface space you have, the more hydrogen and Brown's gas that you will be producing. My God, why do you have a video of just the drill and the saw sounds playing? Kind of silly. Sorry, I'm skipping through it a little bit just to show. I'll paste the full link in the live chat right now for everyone. How to make an HHO generator. And there's just, it's so easy. Just a small amount of current into your saline solution with the, as long as you have a huge surface area of decent metals, alloy or even stainless steel sort of thing on the cathode side is where all the hydrogen is produced. The anode is the difficult part that you need to have the right metals so it doesn't break down and dissolve into the monoatomics and the particles and cause the sludge and decay on the device that you're making. Oh, well, thank you, Scott Dubois. Welcome back and glad to have you as in the community and team. Yeah, do not use sodium chloride as an electrolyte. That will make some poisonous gas immediately, and you will not do too well, I believe, or just acidic byproduct. What are we doing? Okay, did I share? So yes, how to make the electrolyzer HHO. This is the link for the full video. Oh, got here through Andreas Zertis at a roundabout way. Andreas, great guy. I'm actually in the talks with Zertis on us doing a stream together here fairly soon. So I look forward. I've talked to Andreas a few times here back and forth, but I look forward to meeting him face to face over the digital world. It will be a good one, I'm sure. Okay, last little final bonus for everyone. Oh yeah, because that's pretty much done. Is because I wanted Jeremiah in the stream, but he wasn't ready today, so we'll play a replay of Jeremiah of our Science of Sound series podcast, episode 4. Mike from Faraday was also on it, and this episode 4 is still available on Mike's channel, Faraday Research, as well as Autodidactic. My channel, sadly, that it was on Crypto Alchemist, got deleted, those savages. But here's a little portion of the Science of Sound for everyone. And this is Jeremiah from Join the Technician and Exotic Propulsion, showing his build of Dan Forrester's device.
Conductor wire,
double bifilar coil.
And this is the bottom side hemisphere. If you look at it straight on, you see it's looking black. So this is where our negatives are all facing down. Now, just to point out, the Earth, the big ball that we're living on, is negatively charged. It's negatively charged to a very high degree. In fact, according to Feynman and his students, when he asked them to calculate out what the potential of the Earth's energy in the geosphere was between the Earth and the ionosphere, his students calculated out approximately 400,000 volts at 700 million continuous watts of downwards pouring ions from the upper atmosphere towards the ground. Now, 700 million watts may sound like a lot of power, but it's actually not. If we consider what we use just nationally, I mean, we're talking many, many, many gigawatts. Or if we're Back to the Future, many gigawatts.
Weird. It doesn't want to load. It doesn't want us to share. It doesn't want to work. Redonkulous. Well, I guess on that note, it's 2222 and 22.2. I just missed the 2222 to end it, but I said it right at that time. That's some synchronicity. So at 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 22 seconds, plus a couple more minutes for the outro, we're going to call her a night. I love you all. You have a spectacular, blessed day, evening, night, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are right now or when you watch this. Have a blessed day. And on that note, we'll catch you on the next one.
This is the bit, isn't it? It's, that confuses me. It's like, did we...
What the heck? Why does it keep cutting out? Stupid things.
This is the bit, isn't it? It's, that confuses me. It's like, did we choose to come here to get this sorted out, or is this just seems a little unfair, doesn't it? That you know, we seem to be here and there's this parasite messing up our experience.
And, you know, I know in my own life, the times that I've made major changes, it was like it became more painful not to change than to change. That was when I made big changes.
You know, it's this whole ridiculous narrative of, it's, you know, it's an unsafe world. There's not enough for you. It's scary. Everyone's out to get you. And clearly the old civilization was completely the opposite to that. It was all about empowerment, like literally.
Cosmic resonance, I think they called that one. Or
Cosmic resonance, that's a better name.
Real science, you can actually produce free electricity, and this is part of what Tesla was doing, is the differential between the top of the spire to the ground actually creates an electrical differential that you then connect to another wire that goes into the ground, your grounding. Put that into the third phase in your circuit, and then you have a bell ringing circuit, and that actually produces plasma electricity out of the air. It's real technology. These things actually function producing electricity. It's crazy.
The movies are the truth and the news is the lies. They've completely flipped it.
You know, when you look at everything with new eyes and you come across information like she was born into a very wealthy family with elite connections, you know, it means something very different now to me than it would have even a few years ago. And it's our free will that they've really also messed with, because we've been lied to and we react based on lies. Just getting their independence and end up in civil wars for 20, 30 years happens a lot.
Because we keep choosing to pick up the gun and use it on ourselves instead of building and uniting and accepting that we are one people, one spirit, one harmony on one plane that together, united, can achieve anything we dream of.
So do you want to, wake up, or do you want to just keep going along because the change is too difficult?
And then give them pieces of information that they will then pursue themselves and look into, and then they'll wake themselves up.
I was going to mention it's the whole red pill, blue pill of the Matrix. I mean, that of the movie. And you can consider that movie as a documentary because they're telling us something about what's happening here. So do you want to, wake up? Or do you want to just keep going along because the change is too difficult? Wake up.